Oi, welcome back to another video on the channel, back with some Rugby 25 early access. It'll now be something we do pretty much after every update, just to track the progress up until launch. So it's been a couple of weeks now and we have our minor update, gameplay update, where they've noted that they've improved the kicking, offloads, the scrum half ruck joint speed, among other stability improvements. So we have 6 bullet points to get through. We'll start with the bottom and work our way up. The first being stability improvements. I'm only showing this because it does tell you where to go to submit a ticket to report a bug. And we've encountered one of our own, a pretty game-breaking one in fact. It's happened 2 times now. After a successful turnover at the ruck, our game crashed. You'll see some footage of that in the background. Moving on. Corrected unintentional forward passes. The logic for selecting a pass target when tapping LB and RB has been adjusted to avoid a small percentage of scenarios where the ball would be passed well forward to a teammate out of the ruck. Now I'll be honest, I never really experienced this issue pre this patch, and funnily enough I've seen it once during this version where it's said to be ironed out. The passing in general still feels weird. I will talk about it more after we get through the rest of these bullet points. Corrected rule implementation. Correction of some of the rules not implemented correctly, including the positioning of the lineouts after free kicks to touch and ensuring defensive touchdowns are treated correctly. That's good to see, but it is concerning that the very basic rules weren't ironed out before launching this in early access. It was something I noticed whenever I was taking marks and touching down in goal. It's good to see they've taken care of that. Improved scrum half ruck joint speed. So this is something we noticed straight away after the second or the first minor updates, and they've already corrected that. We love to see that. They've said the ruck mechanic is still being worked on in response to feedback. This area of the game will have further improvements in future updates. So it'll be an ongoing, evolving mechanic. It'll be interesting to see just how much it'll change. The ruck is probably one of the most important things they need to get right for an enjoyable experience. And at the moment, I actually don't mind how it functions. It's basic, you just bind players. And if you have the man advantage, you will typically be able to steal the ball. At least that's how I think it works. It does feel sort of random. Everything else around the ruck needs a lot of work, especially the pick and go. The transition from the ball coming out to your scrum half running is so clunky. They said it though, it's something that's ongoing and will most likely be ironed out in future updates. Remember, this is only the second minor update. The improvements so far, which is players joining the ruck and now the scrum half joining at high speeds, are decent improvements. 2 more bullet points to go, and next up we have improved offload. Standard pass buttons may be used to offload in early stages of a tackle. Note that offloads are more likely than standard passes to deviate from the targets. This is an area on which we are hoping to get feedback to ensure we have balanced this correctly. Now I've noticed the offloads, and I'm not sure those deviating offloads apply to the AI because I've been seeing some bullet pass type offloads. Kinda caught me off guard. I'll try and put that example in the video. As for the animations, it is something we've seen in previous games that I've played by Big Ants, which they're decent animations, the old flick offloads. I do like that you can't just spam it during every tackle like you could in old games, so you have to pick and choose the right moments. For me, this is a W change. It is an improvement. I don't even think I did an offload not once in versions prior to this, so they actually work quite well for me. And lastly, improved kicking. In-play kicks have been adjusted along with tuning of trajectories across all kick types. A dedicated button A has been implemented for up and under kicks. So my experience with general play kicks, another feature that needs to feel seamless when playing. Now I might actually just be bad at doing this, but I am getting cooked when I'm trying to clear kicks. Now the grubber, the chip kick, those are easy because it's just a simple button press, but for the kicks that need to be powered up, I am struggling to get those off. And like I said, I could just be terrible at doing that. I'll definitely play a few more games and try and implement a decent kicking game or kicking demonstration. One thing I do want to talk about is the button mapping though. I understand it will take a little getting used to, but it does seem strange not having the chip kick and the up and under mapped to the same button and just separating the punt, seeing as a chip kick is like a mini up and under. I wouldn't mind seeing a quick punt either, but I don't know, that could be cheese. Something that hasn't been addressed yet, and I'm assuming will be like later on the list. I did want to bring up the animations and the smoothness or the transition of these animations when it comes to sidestepping, break tackling, anything that involves the evasion maneuvers like dummy passes as well. It feels and looks way too much like Rugby 22. Now, I'm not talking about the animation itself, like particular sidesteps in that. I know we've seen animations from the League Live series as well as the Rugby series from EKO Software. I'm also talking about the way they play out. I've found that it's more choppy than it is smooth and clean. There's been moments when I've sidestepped, and when the animation plays out, I'm already behind the defender, so it's not really in sync. Every time we break a tackle using our shoulder, the ball carrier just randomly stops, and that kind of kills the flow. There's a lot of ironing out that needs to be done around the animations, and I feel like that's a Rugby 22 type problem, because I saw that a lot in that game, not so much in the League Live series. And that's about it. So that's all the patch notes that we got. So my overall thoughts for the game at its current state. Look, I will keep it a buck. We are a long way away from this being a decent rugby game. Quite literally, all of the basics need tending to. And when I say basics, we're talking absolute bare bones. The passing doesn't feel fluid, it feels slow, which is strange. You know, you'd think the very basics would be ironed out, even for early access, and just given Big Ant's history with rugby league games in general, you'd expect the general play kicking and passing to be smooth. The rucking, that's been the biggest improvement so far, so we'll give them that, but the set piece is fine, the lineouts, the scrum I do like, once I've gotten used to it, and we still haven't seen a rolling maul mechanic, so eyes peeled for that. Yeah, everything else is pretty rough, and I understand we are super early here in the early access phase of this game. For the most part, it does still feel choppy and clunky. If you've purchased Rugby 25 early access, let us know your experience. Are you struggling like I am with the general play kicking? That's probably the area I'm struggling with the most at the moment. If you've played the latest update, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and yeah, as always, if you did enjoy that, be sure to run and shred that like button. For more rugby related content or more content in general, go ahead and drop your boy a cheeky sub. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you later.
Opportunity to offload in the tackle.